Hello, welcome to another recap video. This movie is about a high school girl named Gang Gang. She isn't really good at her studies, but managed to score high enough to get accepted to a prestigious high school called Zhenhua. Her childhood friend is also going there. It is the first day of school where they are going to check their names on the board to see which class they are in. While she is checking the names, she bumps into a boy named Yu Huai. He suddenly starts laughing as he's looking at the wall. She asks him the reason of his laughs, and he points out to his name and says that by combining his name with the name next to his, which is Gang Gang, it means takes to heart. She introduces herself, but her friend takes her away from there, so they don't get to chat with each other. They go to class where the teacher allows them to choose their seats and sit wherever they want. Suddenly, Yu Huai raises his hand and says that he wants to sit next Gang Gang. Everyone is shocked as they have just met. She gets very shy, but agrees to sit next to him. She packs her stuff to change sits. Gang Gang asks him to be nice deskmates for each other. He starts smiling, and their journey starts from there. During the physics class, he keeps sleeping and doesn't listen to the lessons. She tries to wake him up by pushing him and calling his name, but nothing affects him. She starts to think that he's very lazy and has bad grades. The teacher approaches him, and he still doesn't wake up until she pulls the book, and he suddenly wakes up and stands up. Yu Huai says that whenever he knows something, or the lesson is boring, he tends to sleep. Everyone starts laughing, and the teacher tells him to get out of the class. He doesn't insist on staying and just leaves and stands outside by the door. Gang Gang wants to help him, so she takes his physics book and secretly goes outside the class to give it to him. He starts teasing her by telling her that she should call him my lord, which makes her angry, and she leaves. Gang Gang loves taking photos with her camera. While eating in the cafeteria, she suddenly gets very angry and frustrated, as during their exam, she found out that Yu Huai is actually very smart and has high grades especially in physics, and he's preparing to participate in a physics competition. She is annoyed that he's better than her in his studies and thinks that he looks down on her. One day, Yu Huai is playing basketball when Gang Gang and her friends also go there to watch it. Her friends say that he's very cool, and they're jealous of her for sitting next to him. She keeps saying that she wants to change her seat, and he isn't cool at all. However, as he's playing basketball, she takes out her camera and starts taking pictures of him while saying in her mind that he does look cool. He is about to make a score when she takes a picture of him, and the flash of the camera distracts him, so he loses the score. He gets angry and asks who did it. She quietly leaves, so no one would notice her. The scene is changed to the present, as their high school years is in the year 2008. In the present, she has moved from her hometown because of her job, but now she is on break and goes back to visit her friends and family. Her friend picks her up. She tells her that Yu Huai has come back from the United States and informs her that they are going to have a high school reunion party soon. Gang Gang goes back home. She finds her old camera and starts looking at their photos. We go back to the past, where Yu Huai finds out that it was Gang Gang who took pictures of him. She doesn't apologize to him and tells him that it was actually his fault for appearing in her frames. He asks her to show him his photos, and he will forgive her. He starts looking at the pictures and suddenly pulls her in to take more funny pictures together. They are getting closer to each other. She claims that she will delete all those photos, but she will never do so. He enjoys teasing her, and they keep arguing in a very funny way. On their way home, they again start arguing. She tries to kick him while riding her bicycle, but can't control herself and falls down. He gets worried about her and rushes to her to help her. She injures her hand, and he puts a bandage on it. Yu Huai tells her that he was just joking with her because in fact, he doesn't want anything to happen to her because she is his deskmate who makes sure he doesn't fall asleep during the class and makes him smile. He suddenly stands up and says that from now on, I will protect you in all the situations. Gang Gang tells her friends about this. They say that Yu Huai has feelings for her because he got worried about her and claimed to protect her all the time. However, she doesn't get convinced about it. Her friends want to prove her that they are right, so they plan out a scene. They throw her bicycle's lock's key, so she will be forced to ask Yu Huai to go home with him. Gang Gang gets very shy, but she has no way around as they've already thrown it. Yu Huai comes and offers her to take her home. She gets very happy about this. However, Her expectations aren't met as he takes her to the bus station instead of riding her back home with his bicycle. She calls her friend to complain about the situation, but at that very exact moment, someone starts hitting on the bus and says, "Stop, please." It turns out Yu Huai is following the bus with his bicycle with full speed to catch it. Geng Geng gets out, and he says that he should have taken her home by his bicycle instead of telling her to take the bus. They happily go home together. Another day, they go to cafe together where he offers her to help her in her studies, as he promised her to be by her side in everything. As he's going to get food, her friends suddenly appear and tell her to give him some drinks, and he will confess his feelings to her. She doesn't want to take them, but he comes, and there is no way to put them back. She is convincing him to drink it, so he will tell her the truth. However, she ends up drinking it and gets drunk. He carries her and takes her home, so she doesn't succeed in her plan of making him confess his feelings to her. They take an exam, and the teacher is going over the questions. He asks if anyone doesn't understand question 1 and wants him to go over it. Geng Geng wants to raise her hand, but keeps getting shy as no one else raises their hand, so she doesn't do it. Yu Huai sees that and raises his hand and says that he doesn't understand it. He did this for Geng Geng as he totally knows the solution. The teacher again asks for another question. He again raises his hand because he knows she is struggling with that question too. For the third question, he raises his hand again. The teacher thinks that Yu Huai is teasing him because the teacher knows that Yu Huai knows all the solutions. He starts yelling at him for joking with him during the class. Geng Geng then raises her hand and says that she doesn't understand too, which makes her other classmates to raise their hands too. She did this, so the teacher won't scold him anymore. She gets shy and throws a paper at his desk by thanking him for asking questions instead of him. He starts smiling and tells her that she should thank him directly instead of writing to him. Teacher has a meeting with parents. Geng Geng's mother comes and greets Yu Huai too. She thanks him for tutoring her daughter as her grades have improved a lot because of him. Yu Huai's mother comes in too, but she treats Geng Geng and her mother in a very cold way. Yu Huai's mother starts having a conversation with the teacher and tells him to switch her son's sit, so he won't sit next to Geng Geng as she is affecting his grades. She says that Yu Huai doesn't have father and all her hope is her son's success. Geng Geng hears all this. Yu Huai comes and gets angry at his mother for saying these words. Geng Geng is sitting with a sad face. Yu Huai approaches her and sits beside her, but she gets up and leaves. He follows her and starts asking her why she is avoiding him. Geng Geng says that he lied to his mother by saying that I am smart, but she came and found out that her son's deskmate has low grades. She tells him that he might have been embarrassed to have a deskmate like her, so it's better to keep their distance, so he won't get hurt. He is very sad and leaves. She runs to him and asks him to give her an explanation for his lie. He starts saying that in the past, he had a deskmate who had low grades, and his mother did the same thing and asked her to switch sits. He lied this time, so Geng Geng would keep sitting next to him as he wants to be with her all the time. He tells her all this, which makes her feel bad for him as he lied to stay with her. Their class is having a talent show. Class 5 wants to sing as a group, so they are practicing for their upcoming performance. As they are singing and practicing, Yu Huai starts commenting and saying that their performance is boring. The class president tells him to give them an advice or an alternative idea if he's dissatisfied with this. They suddenly hear a singing noise from outside. All the students rush outside and see a student who is playing guitar and singing for his love. He has had crush on a girl for 3 years, and he's singing for her now under the rain. The security comes to take him away. Yu Huai suddenly runs to him and makes him stop singing. He starts whispering in his ear where no one understands what he's telling him, but he manages to convince him to get up, and they leave together. The day of the show comes. They first start their group performance and sing together. However, that boy from earlier appears on the stage and starts singing. It turns out Yu Huai told him to perform for his love on the stage instead of singing like this. Yu Huai also joins him on the stage and starts singing too. All the students are enjoying their performance. Yu Huai turns toward Geng Geng and is singing directly to her. He isn't able to confess his feelings directly to her, but he is trying to do so by singing to her. After their performance, she starts to see the stage as only if they are on the stage together while deeply looking at each other. She goes to the rooftop, and he comes there too by putting headphones on her head. He brings his guitar and starts playing and singing for her. They both are having a fun time with each other. They are studying together at the rooftop, and he suddenly asks her to eat dinner with him. She tells him to officially ask her out. They start teasing each other about it. It's weekend, and she gets ready for their date. He arrives too, and she thinks that they are alone, but suddenly their friends appear too. It turns out that he called everyone to join them. They eat and play games together. All of them are having fun time with each other. After spending time with each other, their friends leave with the bus. Yu Huai and Gung Jen sit at the bus station. She is kind of mad at him. He starts talking about the first day that they met. He says that his first impression of her was that he thought she looks very cute. He suddenly becomes serious, and his tone changes. He gets close to her and wants to say something. He says, "Gang gang, I want to tell you something." He pauses there and suddenly says, "Was my acting good as you got tricked?" The next bus arrives, and he leaves. He wanted to confess his feelings, but again hesitated. She looks back and sees that he got off the bus and wants to spend more time with her and eat dinner together. They start walking around the city while having fun. They go to a restaurant to eat dinner together. Yu Huai checks his wallet, but sees that he doesn't have money to pay for the bill. He starts acting again and says that his stomach hurts and then goes outside. Gung Gang gets worried about him and follows him outside. He tells her let's go, grabs her hand, and starts running with her. They run away together, and it's their first time holding each other's hands. Both of them had a very fun time together. The scene is changed to the present, where Gang Gang calls her friend and tells her that she wants to come to the high school reunion party. All of them go there and start remembering their past memories and laugh about them. Everyone is there except Yu Huai. She doesn't ask anyone about him. However, suddenly someone arrives with bicycle and then enters the room. It turns out that person is Yu Huai. He is smiling widely and says that they seem to not remember him at all. He takes off his coat and sits beside Gung Gung. He starts drinking, but Gang Gang avoids talking to him. The scene is changed to the past, to the day that their teacher asked them to choose their major for college. Yu Huai is choosing science as he's really good at it. Gung Gang's parents keep telling her that she needs to choose communication or something that her grades are higher in. However, she doesn't want to get separated from Yu Huai. One day during the PE class, she starts running very fast and gets determined to choose the same path as Yu Huai to be always with him. She decides to study science and do her best to get accepted to the same university as him. She enters the class and sits beside him by telling him that they will always be deskmates and she will never leave him. Yu Huai gets very happy about this news because he also wants to be with her all the time. From that day on, they start studying together for the college entrance exam. He really helps her in all the concepts, and she's doing her best to understand them and do well on the upcoming exam. In the present, Gang Gang gets drunk again, and he carries her on his back the same way he did in the past. He takes her to her home and puts his coat on her. He starts walking around her house and sees a group photo of their past. He starts remembering the day that all of them went outside together. They were talking about how they should always be together. They plant a tree together and promise to be always together. As long as the tree is there, their promise will always be valid. She engraves those words on the tree, so in the future when they come back, they can recognize their tree. Yu Huai is walking her home. She says that she wants to study in the same city as him, so they will always be together. She is very happy that she will always be by his side. They say goodbye to each other. However, she turns around and runs to him again. She takes out her marker and draws a check mark on his hand. She says that this mark will bring luck for him, and he will pass the test. He again becomes serious and says, "Gang Gong, I have something to tell you." She stares at him to listen to his words, but he changes the topic and makes it to be funnier. They say goodbye, and she then leaves. However, he starts crying after she leaves, because this turns out to be the last time that they see each other, and he never contacts her again until they meet each other in the present. He never got to confess his true feelings to her during their high school years, which she never found out that Yu Huai likes her. In the present at Gang Gang's house, she starts asking if he received her letters. He said yes. She gets angry at him about why he didn't contact her this whole time when he knew that she cared about him. She asks him why he tattooed the check mark on his hand that she drew for him in the past. He keeps avoiding her questions and doesn't want to answer. She forcefully kisses him, but he pushes her away and leaves. Before leaving, she asks him what he wanted to tell her during their last conversation in the past. He again avoids saying it and tells her that he doesn't remember it. He doesn't want to open up to her and keeps all the burdens inside him. Gang Gang gets together with her friends. She wants to try to forget Yu Huai. Her friend suddenly gets angry and says that Yu Huai hasn't told her the entire truth yet. They force him to tell them the truth about Yu Huai's secrets. He says that Yu Huai never went to the United States. In the past, he accidentally met Yu Huai at the hospital. Before taking the college entrance exam, his mother became ill, and they sold their house to cover her medical bills. He stopped studying and started working to pay for her mother's medicines. He never told Gang Gang about it, so it wouldn't affect her studies and her exam results. He didn't want to be burden on her. She gets really angry and calls him. He answers her call. Gang Gang asks him why he didn't tell her the truth, as she would have stayed by his side all the time. He says that things have changed, and their lives are different now. She should live happily without him and try to forget about him. He still doesn't want to be with her as he's still struggling with his life's expenses. When she is in the car, taxi driver turns on the radio. The speaker is the boy who sang in the talent show. He is now a famous singer. He starts talking about the person who inspired him to sing on the stage. He says that boy told him that he also likes a girl, but can't confess to her, so it's better for both of them to go on the stage and sing for their loved ones. Gang Gang realizes that he's talking about Yu Huai, and that he's had crush on her since those days. Gang Gang send him a text. He checks it and sees that there are the photos during their high school years. He starts looking at them and crying. He starts saying in his mind that I've always liked you, Gang Gang, and that day that we ate dinner together, I was trying to find an excuse to hold your hand for the first time. The day that you were waiting for me, I was looking at you from distance, but didn't get close to you because hurting you once was better than hurting you for years, and I should tolerate the feeling of missing you all these years so you can live freely without me. He deletes all the photos as he doesn't want to give her any hopes, but this breaks his heart even more. She texts him and asks him to meet her in the same place that they met before. There is a lot of traffic, so she gets off the car and starts running to that place. She gets there and thinks that he won't come. However, he calls her name out loud, and she turns around and sees him. She tells him that she loved him in the past, and she still loves him, and studied really hard to get accepted to the same university as him. Gang Gang tells him that she knows that he liked her in the past, and asks him if he still likes her. He grabs her hand and takes her to the tree that they planted together. He says that he has always loved her. The scene ends where they are by the tree, and he says that their names together is to take to heart, so she has always been in his heart. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned for upcoming recap videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe the channel. Bye everyone.